What is up, everybody? So today's video is going to be amazing. We're going to be painting a car with Plastidip. It's going to take, we don't know how many cans it's going to take, but right now I have 24 cans of Plastidip to paint a convertible Honda S2000 sports car. And we're not going to have to worry about the roof. So we're going to get into it in a little bit in this video, but you guys see behind me, if you guys haven't been following along on the channel, be sure to check out the previous videos. We've created our own little paint booth, makeshift paint booth. I have a bunch of drop sheets and it costs about 10 bucks to make what you see behind. But let me get right into this video, show you guys what we're doing. Here's the Plastidip. Each box contains 6 cans. We're gonna be painting it this blaze yellow color, fluorescent yellow. But in order to do that, we do have to paint it a base white as per Plastidip. So we have 12 cans of white and 12 cans of this yellow. It's gonna be good. Let me show you guys the car. So here's the car, formerly Supercar Suspect's car, the one that fell off the lift. And we've been doing a ton of prep work on this, but let's show you the booth. It's a little bit windy out here right now. So this is the paint booth that we made. We've dropped all the walls. It doesn't go right to the ceiling because we would be here forever, or maybe even covering that way, but I don't suspect that it's going to go any higher than this if we're spraying down low, especially with such a low car. But what we will do, and I even have one across the back door here, so once we close the door, this swings down. I might leave a little bit at the bottom open just so the door can give us some ventilation here, and also we'll have some air here, so it's not gonna be completely sealed off so I don't suffocate. We'll be using a 3M mask also, a ventilator or whatever they call it, the one for paint. But there's the car, like I was mentioning. We did all the prep work on it in the last few weeks and it was demolished. Check out the video, I'll link it above here. You guys can check out all the prep work that went into it. So I'm gonna go ahead, I got the keys with me. I'm gonna drive it in here and I'm gonna put it on the jack stands that I have right there. We use the jack stands, put it up because that thing is so low that we're gonna be on our hands and knees trying to paint it. And instead of, taping off all the wheels, I'm gonna pull all 4 wheels so we can get right in there and get it all done good and proper. So let me go ahead and we'll throw the car in here and we'll move it in. So I've got the car here in our makeshift paint booth. Ooh, and one of our walls just fell, but I'll have to just tack that up with some more tape. I'm gonna go ahead and jack the car up, pull the wheels, and we'll get ready for the prep. I've already washed it with dish soap and water so that the surface is all clean. Everything is prepped. Anywhere that we see body work done, it's been sanded with 400 grit. So we're all ready to go here. I'm just trying to debate, like you guys saw the bumpers over there, and the front bumper is not on the car. So we don't have to do too much painting in the front except for the fenders here. So I'm trying to debate how far up to put the car so that I can still get the bumper in here. Should be able to put the bumper here, might be a little bit tight, but I wanna make it so that I can go ahead and do consecutive coats and get everything all at once. But yeah, let's get this car up in the air and continue. Okay, here it is, folks. We got 12 cans of yellow, blaze they're calling it, the fluorescent yellow, 12 cans of white. I don't know how many we'll go through. We're not gonna be painting any of the top because it's a soft top. We're only gonna be painting this tiny little trim around here and the rest of the vehicle. I'm gonna try and sneak that bumper in there. I've got everything. I mean, this is as close to an actual paint job as probably most people would do. I wouldn't expect people would tape it off this much, but I'm trying to get a good finish on this and hopefully get me through the summer. This isn't supposed to be like a permanent thing for me. I'm just kind of doing it for fun, see how it turns out, and then as it deteriorates or doesn't hold up, we'll actually do a paint job. But I got all the brake rotors and caliper assemblies all, I guess, wrapped up. I also have some paper in here since I'm gonna have to spray there so that it doesn't go all inside the wheel wells. Inside behind here and some of the jams, I tried to put some, you can probably see some blue tape back there so it doesn't get too far in the jams. All around here is taped. One of the things with Plastidip is you don't want to tape right up to the edge because the Plastidip, you want to be able to peel it off. If you put the tape right to the edge, it'll have a tendency to lift the Plastidip. So we're going to let it kind of make its way onto some of these seals, and then we'll have to just peel it up off of that. So same deal with over here. I could have went right to the edge, but I didn't because we're gonna let the plastic overlap and then we'll peel it off and it'll break on that hard line. And working our way around, I took the tail lights out. So both taillights are out, the third brake light's off, everything is taped up down there. This is what I was mentioning. I'm gonna try and sneak this bumper in here. We'll see if we can get it. I have a sheet here, so it's not gonna get on my garage door or anything like that, but I'm gonna try and get this done too, because I wanna try and get everything done one shot. I don't think I can fit, if you guys can see these here, you probably can't, but those are the Fender Flares that are gonna bolt on here. If you guys have been following along, you'll know that there is over fenders that are going on this car. That's why there's all these holes here. So we don't have to be too specific with getting into this area because a lot of it is covered. That's why it looks kind of crazy over here. We had to cut the fenders, and if you guys have watched the other videos, you know how much work we've done on the car already. Anyways, as for in here, I don't care too much if it gets in there. It'll probably just help the look a little bit. And as we go along, this is that putty type filler here. So we filled in the scratch. It looks like somebody keyed the car or whatever. This is where I got the door from, but there was these marks. So we used a little bit of glazing putty, filled those and sanded it with 400. That's why it looks kind of crazy. But when it's all said and done, after a bunch of coats of Plasti-Dip, we shouldn't see anything. What else? As for the mirrors, I also taped all those off so we can spray in here, and you'll notice some of that dirt there. I am still going to wipe down the whole car with wax and grease remover. So that's what's next. I just wanted to show you guys all the cans laid out. And so now we're gonna get super clean, get serious. And again, you can see everything is wrapped up. Same with the rear. I don't know if I skipped over that, but it is all covered up as well, anywhere that we might spray. I'm gonna spray in here, so that's why that's there, and I don't wanna get all over the exhaust. But that's about it, you guys. Same thing with this. I'll just mention this since we went past it. We're gonna let it come onto here, and then we're gonna peel it off so that we get a nice clean line and clean brake. So let's get these cans out of the way, wipe this thing down, and we can get spraying. So we're on the outside of the bubble, and these are the Fender Flares that I was mentioning, if you guys didn't know. I can't fit them in there, so I'll just do them separately afterwards once we get the car out. And I just finished wax and grease remover, wax and tar. I did the whole car, so the whole car is clean, ready to go. I also have one of these, which I would highly recommend you do. So it's 3M, you know it's a good brand, and it's specifically for paint. So this one is going to help us. I also am going to leave this garage door cracked open and the side door so we have a little bit of ventilation, and it's gonna circulate because the ceiling is open, it's not completely trapped in there. So we're gonna start painting. We'll start with the white, see how far we get. Hopefully I have enough cans. Again, we have to do the base coat in white, so it has to be all white before we can go ahead and put our neon on top of it. So let's begin. Okay, so we made it just about around the whole car with one can, and that's with heating up, which I'll show you in a second, but pretty dang good. All right, so last night got cut kind of short because my finger was killing me, to be honest. I went through 2 cans and I was running out of time anyways. Honestly, I had to hit the hay, but it is day 2 now. We're gonna see how much we can get done. This is with 2 cans going around the perimeter of the car. Like I was mentioning before, the front bumper we're gonna skip for now because I don't wanna get overspray on it, and I'm gonna do it separate because there's not that much room in here. And I kind of noticed some of the spray when we were spraying here was just dusting on the bumper, but I wiped it off with my finger. So anyways, it's day 2 now. And what I ended up doing was, I'll show you, let me flip this camera around. I'll show you what the car looks like, and I'll also show you what I'm doing with the Plasti-Dip too, which is making it come up pretty smooth. All right, so here's what we're doing. We're just doing very light coats, and we did like kind of a really light mist for the first one. Second one, same sort of deal, but we got this, you know, kind of coverage a little bit more, a little bit whiter. I probably put a little bit more on the bumper than I did up here, but it is like silky smooth right now. And I want to show you guys one thing that I've been doing, which I found a tip online. So you guys can see we kind of have this haze all over it, but when you run the backside of your hand on it, it's smooth, it's not textured. So let me go over here for a second, show you guys what we're doing. So we have the Plasti-Dip cans warming up in a bucket of hot water. I just took, you don't want to boil the water per se, but what I did was I took just tap water, put it all the way hot, and filled the bucket with it, and I have the plastic sitting in there. And it, according to people that are more in the know than me, it allows it to come out a little bit smoother, a finer mist. And I fully believe it because this thing is going on like butter so far. I don't want to jinx it, but as of right now, we have a very smooth surface happening. And that's with letting these sit in this bucket of water. So I'm gonna let those sit in there for about 10-15 minutes, because what happens is it actually warms up the plastidip and it makes it, everyone is saying that on the reviews that I heard or the instructions, that it atomizes better and it comes out a finer mist, which it seems to be doing just that. So anyways, I'm gonna let these sit for a little bit longer and then we'll go back to our spraying routine. I'm gonna move this Viper out of here if you guys haven't seen it. So I'm gonna move the Viper out of the way. Ooh, I got a creepy crawly. And because I definitely don't want any overspray on this, even though it has a cover. So we're now 4 cans deep into the whole car, with the exclusion of these rear over fenders and the front bumper. And this is the kind of coverage we have, doing another light-ish coat. You can definitely still see what's underneath. It's pretty translucent. Omar over here on the other side of the mist here. Claims he's laying it on a little thicker, but honestly it looks the same. He's chirping. He's chirping. So we got a few more cans warming up over in that bucket there. And we'll just keep going and see how much we can get done tonight. Okay guys, so we are burning through the white cans pretty quickly. This one's pretty much empty too. And we only have about, these ones are pretty much empty. I got like half a can here. This one's just got a little bit of remnants in it. And I got 1 full can. So let me go ahead and show you exactly how much we've got with that much plastidip. So it's looking pretty white. Still, there's a lot of shadowing going on here, but it's looking pretty white. Still some areas. I don't know, I'm debating, I'm gonna let this dry overnight. I'm debating whether this is white enough to transition into the fluorescent, or whether I still need to put down a bit more white in order for that fluorescent to pop, because I still got 12 cans of fluorescent to cover this thing with, but I'm just wondering how it's gonna go. Anyways, this is what it's looking like currently. I'm gonna use that 1 last can or can and a half, do 1 last coat on it. Definitely need to get some more on this hood. The hood's looking pretty spotty, as you can tell, but the rest of we got decent coverage. It's just, you can still tell the difference between the primer gray fender and the yellow door, and same on the other side. You can tell the difference between this black door, and it's actually, this side's looking pretty good. So I think if I put a little bit more on the other side, it'll probably won't be too much different, because this one has a little bit more on it. Omar was doing this side, and it's not as obvious on this side as it is on that side. So I think we need to spend a bit more time on the other side with some white, but let's continue and see where we end up. Okay, here's where we're at, guys. 12 cans deep on the white, and no Fender Flares and no front bumper included in those 12 cans. It's the kind of coverage we got. You can still see some lines in it, but at least it is white at this point. For the majority, some down here, don't worry too much about, because we tried to make the best of these cans, and all this is gonna be covered by those Fender Flares. So it looks pretty decent. Again, you can see this is a little bit darker, but that's because that's gray underneath and this is yellow. Move across over here. So it is kind of patchy. It's kind of hard to get a clean spray. I'm not no professional at this, but we'll see how it turns out. What I am gonna do right now, and I have a few cans in this hot water here, is I wanna just see what kind of coverage we get with the highlighter, because I wanna try to finish this up this week. And I just wanna see what 1 can will do, if it's gonna cover as much or if it's gonna eat it up like the white cans, because like I said, I wanna get it finished, and I only have 12 of these yellow or fluorescent cans, and I just wanna see if it's gonna eat up as many cans as the white's been eating up, or if that was just because we're spraying onto different color surfaces, and that's why I took so many to get it white. So that's what I'm gonna do. pretty much ready to go. So I'm gonna spray those fluorescent cans on. Might do 1 or 2, see how it's looking, and then I'll have a better judge of whether 12 cans of this fluorescent is gonna do it, or if we're gonna need more fluorescent cans, I can order them in adequate time. So let's go. So it's actually the next day, and I wanted to show you guys where we're at right now. This is the current state, and this was with, I wanna say 2.5 cans or so. This is about 2.5 cans. It still needs, definitely needs some more coats. You can see it's kind of patchy and whatnot, but it's starting to look pretty cool. It's not too bad as far as the texture finish. I mean, obviously it's plastidip, it's not gonna be buttery smooth, but it's not bad. And again, this is just temporary for my purposes, so I'm really not too upset about it. I think it's gonna look pretty cool in the end and achieve what we want it to do for now. But what I do wanna say is, you guys are probably, you know, we've been using that hot water bucket method. And when I tried to do it with this color, this fluorescent color, it kept clogging. And I'm thinking that's because we were trying to warm it up, that for whatever reason it doesn't like to be, because I went through 2 cans and I was switching the nozzles and having to rip off the nozzle and swap the nozzle with another one. And I honestly got fed up with this can. This can is like a good 1/2 to 3/4 full, and the label just slipped off it, but the nozzle kept getting jammed. And honestly, I put 3 different nozzles on it because I pulled this nozzle off and I had a few from the white cans, and you can see I had some nozzles over here, and I kept having to rip the nozzles off and try different nozzles. So it's popping them off with that screwdriver and in a hurry while I could keep going. But I'm gonna try just using these yellow cans cold and see what kind of results we get, but let's keep going. I'm hoping that I can wrap this part of it up for now. I still have the bumper to contend with, but I really wanna get this, you know, the main body of the car all done. So we still have all white back here. I kind of just, this part's gonna get covered, and this was where that can was getting splotty. Like it was literally just like spackling out, so you can see where it was doing that. Again, this is gonna be covered by the over fender, so it doesn't matter too much, but yeah, that's what we gotta do. We have this whole side, we've got 1 coat on it there too. This is pretty thin, but over here is looking decent. Definitely gonna keep going with the yellow, but we're getting to what we wanna do here, so let's continue. All right, so let me show you guys. This is with 7 cans of yellow now on it. And is it with 7? Yeah, it is with 7, because 2 of these cans actually end up being duds. It didn't matter how many different nozzles. You can see I was popping them off. 2 of the cans will not cooperate. So I'm gonna try and get maybe my money back on, I think it's these 2. They're like almost full. It's kind of crazy, but hopefully I'm saving. So I got 3 cans here, and the idea is I have 3 cans. Still have to do the front bumper and still have to do those Fender Flares over there. So I don't want to run out because, yeah, I don't want to run out. So what I'm going to do is, it looks pretty good right now. There might be a couple touch-up spots maybe when we get out in the sun, but as far as I can see, it looks pretty decent for a bunch of rattle cans. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it much better. I'm pretty happy with the outlook of it. It looks really good, and I mean, we're under, you know, the best and the worst case scenario also. I mean, these fluorescent lights reveal pretty much everything. So any imperfections we see here, chances are you wouldn't see them out in the natural daylight type scenario. But I mean, overall it looks pretty good. So again, I didn't go too heavy in these areas because where you see these holes, the Fender Flares are gonna come up to that point, and they come over here, comes across, and then follows those 2 holes down. So that's why you kind of see here, and on the other side, I didn't go too crazy with the plastidip. And also here, I was kind of trying to save it, so that way I have enough cans to make sure I have enough to do the front bumper over there and those flares. So any extra, I'll just blast it in here. But again, I didn't want to cut myself short, but everywhere looks pretty good. Like I said, this is a temporary paint job, as you guys know, with the plastidip, so I'm not expecting it to be absolutely perfect, but I'm pretty happy with the results. So I'm gonna wrap it up for today, and tomorrow we'll take all of this tape job off, put the wheels on, get the car out of here, and get the front bumper and those flares painted up. So so that we can put everything together and see the final product. So as I peel this away, I just want to show you guys something. So what I did do is when I painted this or plastidip this, I taped up here and then I sprayed plastidip halfway up our actual trim. Reason being is so that you can actually take the plastidip, pull it and peel it, and leaves you this nice clean line. So you can see it came out really well. And I'm just finishing up on over here, so I kind of want to show you guys. So this is it. Like I said, I painted up onto there, and you just can sit here and pull it along. I don't know if I can do it with one hand here while I'm filming, but yeah, you just sit here and pull along and it tears clean along the edge, like so. So you just rip it along and it tears clean along the edge, and this is, you know, we used more material and we built it up along the edge. And we made it thick enough so that we can do this. If you did it super thin, you definitely wouldn't be able to do this. And we'll rub away any of the excess, or you can use a knife, but for the most part, we're getting our clean line here pretty simply. So same thing, I'm just gonna keep going ahead and pulling this off. If the tape comes fine, that's cool. We can always sit here and go back and, like, see that? Pull that nonsense all off like that. So we can pull this back because we have so many layers of the plastidip. You can pull this as easy as that, and you have your clean line. You can see kind of a bit of a residue. We gotta wipe it down a little bit, but overall clean line all the way across. So I'm gonna continue to do this, the same thing everywhere. Like same deal here, like I paint it halfway up, and then here you can either peel it up or get it to start peeling so that you can get a corner like this. And then same thing, peel it so it's all clean. So like I said, I'm gonna do this all around here. I won't bore you with that, but that's the process. We peel off the plastic here so that we have our clean lines. And let's get this top off. Okay, so we have the front bumper and the two Fender Flares, rear fenders, rear over fenders set up over there. So you guys already know the drill. We're gonna do white, get a bunch of coats of white on here. I wanna say maybe, probably do 4 or 5 just light coats. See how we go. I'll let you know what we end up doing exactly, but we're gonna do that. The car is outside now. And let's get to work, guys. Let's get the rest of this done, and then we can finally assemble it and see what the finished product looks like. So as I'm tearing down this like booth or plastic room that we had, just want to stress the importance of actually having this. I know these pieces we were spraying on the floor or pretty close to the floor. So if you're like me and you're kind of a neat freak and you want to keep your garage floor clean, definitely get some of these cheap plastics. They're just drop sheets, super cheap. Even like the jack stands just from spraying, and this would probably be similar for even painting. Like I gotta rinse off my jack stands there, just covered in like overspray. You can kind of see the yellowish haze on them. Luckily it's just gonna peel off because it's plastidip, so but just keep that in mind. So if you're like me, a lot of stuff's gonna get dusty, so this is a cheap way of keeping everything clean. And I'm just gonna tear it down. We'll wait till the morning, since it's dark out, reassemble the car and wrap this thing up. All right, right, so here's the final finished product, you guys. It came out pretty dang good for just being a bunch of rattle cans. You can probably pick out some like small rattle can, you know, patterns on this, but overall, I'm very, very happy with this. So, and as you can see, we did a pretty decent job. I still have a little bit of picking to do. Like, even though I taped, there's still a couple areas where I'm gonna have to just sit there and spend a bit more time just peeling this up. Because just like that, you know, you gotta spend a bit more time peeling some of these areas. But I mean, for the most part, it's pretty good. I got the rear over fenders on here now. You can see, looking pretty cool. I put the tail lights back in and I put the third brake light on. I also plasti dipped this black, which I think looked pretty cool. I didn't end up taking the one off the front, but I think I might take off the one on the front and do that black too, because that looked pretty cool. And honestly, the camera isn't fully, it looks a lot more green, to be honest, from the camera than it does in real life. It's a lot more yellowy looking at it as opposed to the actual camera, but overall, I'm super happy with this. So we did end up using, let's go over some stuff. Here's the Plasti Dip can catastrophe. So we end up using, we used one box of 6 cans of white. Then we went through a second box of 6 cans of white. So there's 12 cans of white. And then I ended up having to go through another almost 4 cans so of white as well. So what does that end up being? Probably about 16 cans of white. And then we had another 12 cans of yellow. So 16 cans plus 12 cans, we're at 28 cans. So almost 30 cans for this tiny little car just to get it to where we are at. And I still have to, figure something out because these cans aren't very cheap, the actual highlighter ones. And 2 of them were like duds. So I sprayed them for a little bit and they're pretty much full and they just clogged. I tried changing the nozzle to a few different nozzles. I thought maybe it's from putting them in water, but I even tried one cold and there was another one that was doing it too. So I don't know, I'm not sure if it has something to do with the highlighter color, a defect in those cans. What I will point out is these are the white cans and you can see that the label is pretty much on it, right? It's like almost printed on. But for some weird reason on these yellow cans, it's almost like they're made from somebody else. Like it has this sleeve that's on the can and it starts sliding off. So I don't know if I can show you, but yeah, like here, it just slides right off the can and it gets in your way. That sleeve will come up and start blocking the nozzle. So it's kind of annoying. And these are the cans that, like I said, 2 of them were duds. I think it's those 2 sitting over there. They're pretty well full. And yeah, and I can't use them. This is what I was talking about. So this will start to slide up like this to the point where it'll slide up while you're holding it. Because you're holding it like this and you're squeezing this and this is just slowly creeping up. But not a big deal, but this will end up getting in the way of your nozzle and blocking it. Kind of a pain. That's why you saw a couple of those I removed. So anyways, let's wrap this up. All right, so there you guys have it. You can plasti dip an entire car with cans. Would I recommend it? Probably not. It took a long time. Not only do you have to go through a lot of cans, but at the same time, the speed at which you can spray a can on is ridiculous. Like it took hours and hours and hours of spraying cans just to get that much plasti dip on there. And if you had just like a spray gun, you'd blast it and be done in probably half an hour max type thing. Same as like if you actually painted it, the volume that comes out of the paint gun, it's so much more that you can just kind of fly over it more or less and you're good to go. So whereas those cans, like we had to go around this thing so many times to try to get it. I mean, yes, obviously we accomplished the goal, but at the same time, I probably would never do that again just because, and this is a small car, mind you. If you had a bigger car or a truck, it would just be ridiculous. So I'm talking like realistically, like probably like 12 hours of just spraying because you have to wait. You have to kind of go around and then wait like 15 minutes to 30 minutes between coats. And yeah, it takes a long time. Plus, like I said, each actual can while you're spraying it, like you can pretty much continuously spray a can for almost 10 minutes. So start adding that up, you know, 10 minutes times, what did he say, almost 30 cans. It adds up to a long time. And it's, like I said, I did it to say we could do it, but would I recommend it? And I'm not, you know, there's a lot of guys on there that sell plasti dip spray kits. I'm not endorsed by any of those, but honestly, I'd probably go that route if I was gonna go with the plasti dip cans again, but I probably am just gonna paint it next time. So we'll see how long, and I'll keep you guys posted on how long this holds up. Also, the peeling off process, it probably isn't gonna be the greatest. We laid it on thick enough that we should be able to peel it off, but at the same time, yeah, hopefully it comes off. Probably run this for about this summer. This is gonna be a track dedicated car. I got a bunch of goodies for it over here hiding, but you guys will have to watch the next video to see those. So we got some wider stance, some different wheels, some suspension, a bunch of performance parts going on this thing so that we can take it to the track. Anyways, you guys, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Any questions, comments, please be sure to drop them in the comments section below, and check out all the other videos on the channel. We got a whole lot on this build, the Viper behind me underneath the cover, also the supercharged Ram 1500 that we finished building not too long ago. Lots of content already on the channel, lots on the way. We'll see you in the next video. Take care.